So the application process is quite lengthy that you have to submit all the writing materials like SOP, CV, and
letter of recommendation. I would say in Europe, you don't always need it.
You can contact professors, you can cold mail them.
So sometimes you may even have to give an application fee for applying to these programs.
Advertised. We have Euro Access here, which is quite popular for the Europe openings.
It's from 3 to 4 years. It depends on, like, it varies from university to
On
university.
average, the minimum PhD duration is 5 years.
And external funding, there are like some fellowships like Marie Curie, DAD.
So one more advantage of doing PhD in Europe is you get to travel a lot.
3 people, 3 countries, and 1 long Zoom call. This is the Accidental PhDs, where 3 PhDs talk about research, science, grad school, and everything in between.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Accidental PhDs. In this episode, we are going to compare between the PhD in US as well as in Europe. So I'm Basil from University of Chicago.
And today we are starting a series of episodes on PhD applications in international universities. And I'm Karthik from University of Potsdam, Germany.
And I'm Alok from Comenius University, Bratislava. We'll be coming up with more episodes in this series where we'll be discussing about how to prepare CV, how to prepare SOP, how to write a personal statement, and how to draft email, and what else.
Even we'll be discussing about how to prepare for a PhD interview.
So as Basil is from US, he'll be representing US today. And me and Alok, we are both from Europe. We'll be talking about Europe side. So let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with how to apply. So in US, the PhD application process is quite different from the European style. So here, the PhD positions are not at all advertised. You won't find these positions advertised in websites or any Telegram channels or LinkedIn. Most of the time, you have to go to the department page and look into their department website and see whether their faculties are taking students. And you have to apply through that portal, the university portal. There will be a graduate admission portal in which you have to apply to the program. So the application process is quite lengthy that you have to submit all the writing materials like SOP, CV, and even you can say letter of recommendation is really important for US. You need at least 3 letter of recommendation for most of the universities. It's must. In US, the application is only opened in 2 major intakes. One is fall intake, another one is a spring intake. I would not call it as 2 major intake, but 1 major and 1 minor, because spring intake is very small intake. So you should all focus on the fall intake, which has more opportunities and more intake. So the fall intake takes place in December to January. That will be the deadline, and spring intake mostly into the June, July, that time period. So sometimes you may even have to give an application fee for applying to these programs. And most of the universities offer fee waivers for those who are coming from even from India and some other countries.
So in Europe, it's quite different, I would say. It's first of all, the applications are open all year round. You can apply anytime. You'll be finding advertised positions. The positions would be advertised. It's more like applying for a job. You have a vacancy, they'll advertise it, and then you can just directly go to the website or apply through that portal. For letter of recommendation, I would say in Europe, you don't always need it. In many of the cases, you require a letter of recommendation, but in many cases, they'll just ask you to submit a name of a professor with whom they can contact later. If they finally decide upon you, like after taking an interview and all, if they select you, then they'll just contact the professor and take a final message from him. So unlike USA, you don't have to worry much about recommendation letter. But here, even if you have to give names, you have to give just 2 names. To find the positions, there are some websites on which the positions are usually advertised. We have Euro Access here, which is quite popular for the Europe openings, and Find a PhD, which mostly posts openings about UK, and some other websites on which you can find the positions.
Or even if you're not finding any position like your field related, you can contact professors, you can cold mail them. So if you're interested in some particular field, find those professors and mail them that I'm interested in doing PhD, I want to do these things. So what happens sometimes like this in these labs, when they need some PhD scholars, so they will about to advertise those positions. But if you mail them, and if they know that they are going to advertise it, then they will recommend you that we will be advertising it, and you can apply from that also. And also, if they have talked with you like after email, and then they think that you are potential PhD student, then they will be considering you. So next time they can contact you directly. So this is one of the benefit of mailing.
Yeah, sometimes internally funded positions which are funded by the institute are not always advertised. So I think it's always best to find labs individually and then email them, because the positions which are advertised would always have more competition.
So adding to that, for US also, before applying to the graduate program, it is always advised to contact your professors, the professors of your interest, so that they will know that you are applying and you are interested in his lab. So there is higher chances of getting admitted if you have a good connection and if you have had an interview, an unofficial interview with the supervisor before the exact original application process. Yeah.
So I think the common thing between both US and Europe is first you have to select a lab, like study the research, the field in which you want to work in. find professors there, search about their lab, read about their work, and then just email them, approach them, and ask them that, okay, I want to pursue a PhD in this thing. That's the same thing, I think.
I
both
think
in-
there is a small difference for US. I mean, even if you are admitted, most of the US universities, even after you are admitted, you will have a chance to explore different labs in the department. So you don't have to commit to a single professor at the admission time itself. You can, but you will definitely have a time, maybe 6 months or 1 year time for exploring all the different labs in the department. So the pros of this is that if you don't have an idea, or if you are still confused on which specific topic you are going to work, you can definitely explore the topics and come to a point that, okay, this is what I like.
So in Europe, there is no option of rotating the lab. You can't explore that much. Your project is pretty much fixed what you'll be working on. But still, in some cases, you have in the same lab, you have an option to write your own research proposal for a project or choose your own thing, but not in a project which is for which the funding is external.
So I think for Europe, if you have a specific goal and if you have experience to that, if you really want to do that exact research, then it's perfect match, so that you don't have to waste your time on doing some other steps. You're directly doing that. For US, I think one advantage for other people who want to change the field also, they have an advantage because they did a master's thesis that they don't like the field, and if they want to change to a new field, they can explore other opportunities in the department, and if they want to change, they can change.
So let's now discuss about the length of PhD. Generally in Europe, it's from 3 to 4 years. It depends on, like, it varies from university to university. Also, it varies from countries to country.
So that's because we get started with research right away. We don't have to take 2 years of coursework like US. So the norm is 3 to 4 years, but there are some institutes like Max Planck institutes in Germany, where I think the PhD goes on for quite long. You can even do it for 5 years or more than 5 years. I've even heard 6 years. So, but the usual thing is the PhD finishes in 4 years, 4.5 years.
So in US, as we have already mentioned, we have the courseworks, especially in the first year and maybe towards to the second year. So I would say the average PhD or the minimum PhD duration is not average. The minimum PhD duration is 5 years, and people do go to 6 and 7 years. So it's similar to the Indian system. I mean, people who take around 5+ years to complete the PhD. You can even get a master's after your second year. So you just enroll to the PhD, and if you wanna write an exam or give a thesis defense for masters, you will get an extra masters during the PhD itself because of this course structure. And then talking about the pros and cons, we can discuss what are the pros and cons of this system. For US, I would say the con is definitely the length and the duration. If you really want to complete PhD very fast, if you are someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of time on PhD and go into a job immediately, industry or something, then I would say Europe is better than US in that sense. But the pros I have found is that you will be getting intensely trained because you have some coursework to take. You can even get a master's during that program, and you are mostly specifically for your project, you have to work from the scratches and you have to build upon it, so that you are spending a lot of time on your single project, that it will be good for an academic position in future if you are planning, because you are trained for a longer period, and in that long period you can even publish more papers and all.
Talking pros of European PhDs, like, it's very shorter. So you will not get tensed for more than 5 years. Like it's for 3 to 4 years. So also another thing is, like, if you want to get into industries, if you don't want to spend your time too much in doing research, like let's say 5 years, 7 years, like that. So you can get PhD in 3 to 4 years. You can finish it and you can join industries.
So I would say cons are also similar to the pros because it is quite short. You can't explore much. I mean, I've heard from people that if you're working on a project, you should just stick to it. You can't explore many other ideas. If you keep on exploring that, you might not be able to publish those many papers. So in Europe, you don't always have to publish papers. You can also write a thesis, and with that also you can get a PhD. So that's one problem, I would say. And the other is funding. You might run out of funding if the time is less. After 4 years, you might not be able to secure funding.
So talking about funding in US, so basically there are two ways in which you are funded. First of all, when you are admitted to a program, your funding is safe. You will get funded either way. And the two ways are TA-ship and RA-ship. TA stands for teaching assistantship. RA stands for research assistantship. So in RA-ship, basically you are funded by an external funding source. That means the fund of the project that your supervisor is running. For example, if the project is funded by NASA, the research work you're doing is funded by NASA, currently in my case. So NASA will fund the PhD salary for those semesters or those quarters or those months. And in some months in which your supervisor is saying, okay, let's not fund you from the external funding, you guys just do a teaching assistantship in university, so that we can save some money from the project fund. That means you have to teach a course or assist a teacher in the course, assist a lecturer in the course that the university will fund you for those months or those quarters or those semesters.
So for Europe, it's quite similar. Like in Europe, there is internal funding that is funded by lab. Like if lab has any project, it will be funded by that. And external funding, there are like some fellowships like Marie Curie, DAD, and also some funding comes from industries, like they have some funding. Even that you don't have to worry much about it, because if you are getting any PhD position there for certain duration, then you'll be getting funding for that duration at least.
You don't have to do TShip or RShip. Your funding for at least for that duration is secured. And in case of external fellowships, your salaries are more or less same, but it differs on what type of funding you have. If you have internal funding from the lab, so in Germany usually you have different type of contracts, whether you're on a 50% position, 65% position, 75% position, or 100% position. So your salary would depend on your type of work contract, and it might differ if you're from an external funding or if you're from institute funded. So in my case, in Marie Curie, Marie Curies are generally on a 100% contract. Salaries would differ slightly than an institute funding case, and also you'll get many other benefits, like you'll have some programs where you'll get to travel a lot. You'll have a lot of collaborations. You'll have in Marie Curie, you'll definitely have collaborations with the industry where you have to do an internship with them. You have to do summer schools every year, 1 or 2 summer schools. Yeah, you'll be among a group of PhDs who are working on a same topic, so you'll not be alone doing solving a research problem. There would be a group with you always.
Yeah, I feel like the main difference is the duration of funding. For US, there is no specific cut for the duration of funding. I mean, for my case also, it's like they will fund you until you are doing a satisfactory work. So basically, if the external funding or the project funds are cut, you can still do TA-ship in the university and get salary.
Okay, so coming to work-life balance in Europe versus US, I think that's where we win. That's where we have an advantage. And in Europe, it's more about like 9 to 5 kind of job. Everyone just comes in morning and then complete their 8 hours or 6 hours, depending on your contract, and then you just leave. You don't have to stay in the lab at night or after your working hours. If you stay extra, they'll tell you that why are you staying here? Why are you still here? It's 5 p.m. Why are you not going home?
Also, we get fixed holidays for 30 days. It's for Karthik, it's 30 days. For me, it's 40 days. So
In a
if
year,
you
right?
take,
In a
yeah,
year.
in a year.
Okay.
So you can take it continuously, or you can take it in small bits. It's paid holidays. So basically, out of 12 months, you are working 11 months. So, and you are getting paid for extra 1 month. That is, you can consider it as a bonus.
And all Saturdays and Sundays are off. No one works on Saturdays and Sundays. I've heard cases like even if you don't take holidays, if you don't finish your 30 holidays, they'll tell you to take holidays. That why are you not
Yes.
going on a vacation? Finish your
Yeah.
holidays. Also here, there is flexibility of workers. If you have 6 hour work contract, I've seen people who come in like 7 a.m. in the morning and then go back by 1 p.m. You can just
Yes.
work at any time.
Yes.
There is quite a lot of flexibility on that.
It's
I will talk about US. So we don't have this much a good work-life balance as a general no. I mean, we are better than India, but much worse than Europe in case of work-life balance, because we don't have a fixed duration vacation period. I mean, there is no fixed vacation period that you can take this much vacation or something like that. Also, it depends upon the lab. So if you don't have a specific norm in the country, then definitely it depends upon the lab. So if the lab culture is good, then it's fine. Okay, talking about the structure of PhD in US, and we can say that in that 5 years or for 5 years, average 5 years, the first year you have some coursework to take. Also, you can start your PhD work. Maybe in some departments you explore the lab, and by the end of the second year, you have to give an exam. Defend a thesis. I mean, defend your works that you have done till that time. So that will be now in my department. It's like you have to give an exam as well as you have to give an interview, a viva, in which you have to defend the things that you have done for the last 2 years. Based on this, they will certify you that, okay, you are eligible to continue as a PhD student. Or then till that, the first 2 years, you are a PhD student. And after that, you will become a PhD candidate. So this is called the candidacy exam or candidacy test or something like that. So you have to qualify that candidacy. If you don't qualify the candidacy, maybe you will get a master's and you can go from the university. That's how it things in US.
But it's not common in Europe, like not everywhere. I think for Karthik, it's not like that. They don't need to clear any exam, or they don't need to present their thesis to continue research. But in my case, it is like that. After 1.5 years, like we have to give minimal thesis defense. So in that, there will be like there are some courses also we have to take. So there are credits. If we are satisfying that credit, then we will be having this minimal thesis defense. In that, we have to present our research, whatever we have done for 1.6 years, 1.5 years, and there we have to defend our thesis. Like so, basically the structure is like you have to write a small report also. You have to write a small report, you have to submit it, and also you have to make presentation. There will be presentation, and there will be panel. They will be asking questions. That questions could be related to your project, the research, whatever you are doing. It could be theoretical questions also, and mostly the questions they ask from the presentations only, like the research whatever you are doing. And if you cannot pass this, then you have to go back to home. You
You
cannot
won't get a
continue your
master's
PhD.
like
No,
US.
no,
It's
you
not a
will not get
master's, but a lot
masters.
of experience in a lot
But
of
yeah,
memories.
so
A lot of memories.
Yes.
lots of memories.
Doing
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
So talking about the structure of PhD in US itself, you can say there will be a PhD committee in which your main supervisor will be there and at least two other supervisors or professors or scientists from the department or outside the department or from other university. So you have to give at least once in a quarter or once in a semester, you have to give updates. You have to host a committee meeting in which you have to give updates of the works that you are doing.
In my case, there is a professor who keeps doing like routine checkup. We have to update him. Like he asks, like, what, how much have you done? What are you doing? All these things. So he checks it whether it is going well or not. And also every month we used to have a group meeting. So there also we update all the PhD students. We update our work. We present it, and then they ask questions. They discuss. They suggest something. So these are the things. But I don't think so. It's common in Europe everywhere. Like
For
in
me, there are
country.
not such checks in between. Just at the end of your PhD, you have to defend your thesis. And if you're successful into that, there is a committee in which there are 3 or 4 professors from other institutes, or even from your own institute, there would be 1 or 2 professors. So if you defend it well, then you can get a PhD.
So generally talking about the pros and cons of your system, some of the pros that comes to my mind is that the teaching assistantship that we already discussed, that adds teaching experience to your CV. So it will be beneficial for you in your future, especially if you are planning to do an academic position where teaching is a relevant part of the course. Then it is good that you get a teaching exposure. Also, it's a department, and sorry, it's a university. Basically, you're working in a university. There are some other courses going on in the university. If you have time, you can take any courses you like. If you want to learn French, go to the French course. If you want to, I mean, I took a CCTL course. That means college, Chicago Center for Teaching and Learning. It's like a college professorship course in which they teach how to teach students. So it was like an optional course for me. I just took that in 1 quarter. It was really helpful.
So one more advantage of doing PhD in Europe is you get to travel a lot. You can travel to all the different countries without worrying about visa, and the connectivity is really good. Travel is cheap, so you can even attend different conferences in different countries, make connections there. Yeah, that's an
we
added
went to
advantage.
we went to Switzerland when Basil was here,
Yeah.
right? So like even Basil, he stayed I think 1 year, right, Basil, in USA.
Yeah, I was there for 1 year.
Yeah, he traveled more in Europe than US. He
Yeah.
was here only for 1 month, right? It
Yeah, I
was
agree
only
with
for
that.
one.
We traveled in most of the parts of Switzerland. Also, me and Karthik went to Italy. And
Yeah.
I would say that the connectivity is really nice compared to US. US is like from one city to another city, you have to take a flight or a car. There won't be any train or bus that will be efficient to take you from one city to another city. But Europe, it's like, I mean, you can just go from Switzerland, you can go to Italy and come back to Switzerland by night. I mean, that's
Yes.
faster networks and connectivities. Yeah, that's really nice.
So how do you guys feel? How is doing PhD here and abroad is different from doing a PhD in India? Like, what advantages or disadvantages do you see here? Basil?
Okay, for me, I would say that the research facilities that we have here, because of the good funding, especially there are a lot of instruments in the lab, in the community, in the department, and most of them are working. So, so you will get more hands-on experience on these instruments. Also, the fundings for going to conferences that I already mentioned that I came to Switzerland and I was working there for 1 month. So they're completely funding everything. I don't have to pay any penny for these travels. In my first year itself, I went for conferences where I didn't have much to present. Still, my supervisor said that you should go and attend a conference so that you will get an idea and you will connect with people. So they have money, so they are investing it on us. So it's what I felt.
Alok,
Hello.
पैसा ज्यादा मिलता है वहां से ज्यादा पैसा मिलता है बस.
that's the number one
Yeah,
advantage.
good
You get
salary.
paid more here. That's
I
true.
mean, definitely, you're getting good salary. You can
Yes.
save money, you can send back to home.
Yes. Yes.
Also,
Noted.
another thing which I like here is there are no hierarchies in lab.
Yeah.
Your professors are not your bosses. You just talk with them
Yeah.
like they're your colleagues. You can more
Yeah.
freely discuss your ideas with them. Yeah, and there is this independence. You're not dependent on even on your professor, sometimes not on your colleagues. You are just working on your research problem. And yeah, I think that's what it's quite different from India.
Okay, absolutely. That's so. Let's conclude this session. In this episode, we were basically comparing the PhD system in US as well as Europe. As you have already got an idea that it's not like US is better or Europe is better. It depends on the needs, depends on the things that you need from a PhD. It depends on the things that you aim from a PhD. So decide based on your needs and based on your targets which PhD you want to get into. So see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.